The issue of planning the roadmap for Ukraine's accession to NATO is causing divisions among the member states of the world's largest military alliance. The discussion among NATO members regarding the prospects of Ukraine's accession is intensifying ahead of the alliance's summit in Lithuania in early July. The issue became more urgent after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that it was time for NATO to make a political decision to invite Kiev to join the alliance and wanted to know the timing of the accession. While NATO leaders agree that it is not yet the appropriate time to initiate the process of Ukraine's accession, the Eastern European group of members wants the alliance to provide substantial commitments and outline a specific roadmap for Kiev's membership. Over 15 years after the United States urged NATO to issue the Bucharest Summit Declaration in Romania regarding the prospects of Ukraine's accession, the question of when Kiev can join and what can be done during the waiting period is causing disagreements and divisions among the members. According to disclosures from NATO officials to The Washington Post, almost all 31 alliance members agreed to exclude the formal option of inviting Ukraine to join during the summit in Vilnius, Lithuania on July 11 to 12. However, conflicts arise when the Eastern European group demands that NATO at the summit at least provide a commitment to a specific timeline for Ukraine's accession. Meanwhile, the United States and Western European members want more modest steps, even procedural ones, such as upgrading the NATO-Ukraine Cooperation Agency or expanding NATO's technical support to Ukraine in the defense sector. The Vilnius summit will not have any historical significance if it does not make a decision about Ukraine's future in the alliance, shared Natalia Galibarenko, Ukraine's representative to NATO. She said Ukraine understands that admitting a country in a state of war is a difficult problem for NATO. However, Kiev believes that this is the appropriate time for NATO to clearly define the path to membership, rather than repeating the familiar statements about the open-door policy for new members. Supporters of expediting Ukraine's accession argue that this decision should not depend on the final outcome of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. According to them, this condition would mean that Russia would hold a veto on Ukraine's NATO accession roadmap, thereby encouraging Moscow to prolong the conflict to prevent the prospect of Kiev joining the military alliance. Proposing a suitable path for Ukraine's accession is also suggested by Czech Foreign Minister Jan Lipovsky. He revealed that the level of political will regarding this issue is being discussed by NATO members ahead of the Vilnius summit. Some officials from Baltic countries even suggest that NATO should send a formal invitation for Ukraine to join in July. Another proposed option by the Baltic Group is to initiate an internal process to determine a clear timeline and conditions for Ukraine's accession. Tuuli Duneton, a senior official in the Estonian Ministry of Defense, emphasized that the NATO summit in Lithuania should send a specific message to Ukraine. After what this country has endured in the war, they deserve a position in NATO, and we will welcome their participation, he said. However, unlike the Bucharest summit in 2008, the United States and Western European members are now less enthusiastic about quickly opening the way for Ukraine to join NATO. The administration of U.S. President Joe Biden believes that NATO at this time needs to prioritize assistance to Ukraine to gain an advantage on the battlefield and prepare for a large-scale counteroffensive. At this moment, we need to focus on real assistance and how to maintain the best security support for Ukraine. Official responded to the press in Brussels in April. This is the most important political task right now, a senior U.S. This official believes that the NATO-Ukraine relationship after the end of the conflict will be in a vague state if